voting with my feet. It's a brisk 46 degrees here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. My polling place was close enough that I actually walked here. Let's hope I don't burst into flame as I walk in. Well, I'm getting ready to go in and vote. First voting in South Carolina. Let's see how it goes. Well, that was my first electronic voting experience. It was really great, actually, because at the end it asked if I wanted cash back. So, cool. Well, that was exciting. That was my first voting in South Carolina. My babies are all very, very happy that I got out and voted. They were so excited, they wanted to come out the door with me. Interesting thing about local politics, virtually all the local positions that were being voted on, like sheriff and coroner, were all Republican, going uncontested. They just had write-ins. So next year, or next election, I gotta make sure and do a little homework and try and find a good, solid Democratic coroner, because, you know, we need more democracy in coroning. It was remarkably painless. There was no line. I just had to show my state ID and the little voter card they gave me at the DMV when I got my state ID. I don't know if the voter card was required, but I gave it to them anyway. And my first time doing electronic, as I pointed out earlier, is a very short thing. One of the interesting things is you can vote by your party. Just click the button for your party and it will automatically tick off all the, you know, Democrats or Republicans or whatnot on the ballot, which is kind of odd. It's kind of lazy voting, but hey, go and figure. Anything that makes voting faster, because I was watching the news in Florida and people were standing in line for 2 hours to vote. Not that I wouldn't have done it, because, you know, I'm that kind of guy. I love voting. Voting is my favorite thing. I vote several times a day if I could, but they tend to frown on that sort of thing and told me to stop. So that's that. I got my I voted sticker, my badge of honor. My pets voted. I registered all of them and got them in there and had them put their little paws on the screen. Touchscreen voting really makes me uneasy, just because I know how easily computers can be messed with. But anyways, I voted. I hope you did too. And the great experiment goes on. Take care. Bye-bye.
Some would say that those struggles are all over, that all the horizons have been explored, that all the battles have been won, that there is no longer an American frontier. But I trust that no one in this intersection would agree with that sentiment. For the problems are not all solved, and the battles are not all won. And we stand today on the edge of a new frontier, the frontier of the 1960s, the frontier of unknown opportunities and perils, the frontier of unfilled hopes and unfilled threats. Woodrow Wilson's New Freedom promised our nation a new political and economic framework. Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal promised security and succor to those in need. But the new frontier of which I speak is not a set of promises. It is a set of challenges. It sums up not what I intend to offer to the American people, but what I intend to ask of them. It appeals to their pride. It appeals to our pride, not our security. It holds out the promise of more sacrifice instead of more security. The new frontier is here, whether we seek it or not. Beyond that frontier are uncharted areas of science and space, unsolved problems of peace and war, unconquered province of ignorance and prejudice, unanswered questions of poverty and surplus. It would be easier to shrink from that new frontier, to look to the safe mediocrity of the past, to be lulled by good intentions and high rhetoric, and those who prefer that course should not vote for me or the Democratic Party. But I believe that the times require imagination and courage and perseverance. I'm asking each of you to be pioneers towards that new frontier. My call is to the young in heart, regardless of age, to the stout in spirit, regardless of party, to all who respond to the scriptural call, be strong and of good courage, be not afraid, neither be dismayed.